This
Yes,
conference will now be recorded.
sorry.
Yeah, I just wanted to know your background, like what are you doing
Yes,
currently, in which
yes.
industry you are working in, and so that it would be very easy for me to explain in that way.
Myself, Ravi Kumar.
Yeah,
I
hi
have a
Ravi.
total 15 years of experience, majorly into material management area, and I have
Okay,
experience in SRM as well and
okay,
logistic execution.
oh,
All
great.
three together have 15 years, and I have experience in manufacturing, service, IT, telecom,
Mhm.
and FMCG vertical.
Okay, thank you so much, Ravi.
You welcome.
Next,
Myself,
please.
Ashwin, and I have bit on ABAP, SRM exposure.
So, a techno-functional guy. Great. Okay, next. I don't know who are these attendee 4 and 5 because the name is not visible here. Maybe you are speaking on mute. Hello, guys, can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay, fine. Maybe they are having some network issue. Okay, fine. Let's get into the demo quickly. Fine.
Kumar, how long you
Yep.
with Ariba? How many years experience on Ariba? And what
Since
are the
7 years,
modules?
I'm in it. Since 7 years,
Which
I'm into
module?
ARIBA. I have
Okay.
implemented both upstream and downstream.
Okay. You worked on all these things, right? This contract,
Yes,
document, the
right.
contract, whatever. There are 4 to 5 modules are there, right? And Ariba. Sourcing,
Not four.
contract
Not
management.
four. There are 7 modules we have.
Okay. No, yeah. I thought, okay.
Yeah. Fine. So we will be talking about that only now in
That would be.
details. Yeah. Okay. Fine. So as you know, like Ariba is, so this is the agenda which we will be talking about, the introduction part, what Ariba is, then evaluation, what are the module will, and the course content. Okay. So this is what the like as you know, Ariba is completely cloud-based application, and it is divided into two parts. One is upstream solution and downstream solution. So in upstream, these are the module which are going to cover like in supplier management and performance. So basically, the supplier management is your SLP process, that is supplier life cycle and performance module, where you will be dealing with where we will be onboarding the supplier in Ariba, and then we will evaluate their performance as well. So that is our SLP process. So inside SLP, we have many things. We will discuss in details about it, but just I wanted to show you the module which are there in upstream and downstream. So upstream concepts are SLP, that is related to supplier management, sourcing, contract, supplier risk, spend analysis, commerce automation. So these are the individual modules. Like in upstream itself, you can say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 module, and in downstream, this is completely our P2P, P2P, P2O, two types of module we have where we can get the opportunity to work in the projects and supply chain collaboration. So supply chain collaboration is a different module, and guided buying we have a different URL. So it will altogether it is a different model, and another one is our buying and invoicing, that is part of our procure to pay. Okay, so these are the like modules which we will be covering during our session. Any question here?
Cover Ariba network as well, or
However,
middleware between Ariba and AR3?
That is by default, Ariba network and CIG will be there. Don't worry.
all the
Because that
integration
PIG not
concepts,
included in the agenda. That's why I got down.
Ah, okay. It is there in the PPT. Sorry, if
Okay.
I have not added, let me just add it quickly.
all the integration between SAP and ARIBA also will cover, or how will you cover, like
Yes,
ARIBA,
we we,
SRM, or what will you cover?
we will be covering the integration between S4 HANA and Ariba. whatever the
Okay.
integration touch points we have from SLP, sourcing, contract, supplier risk, spend, commerce automation, buying invoicing, guided buying, supply chain collaboration, and commerce automation. These are completely S4 HANA and Ariba integration modules. So for that, we need two different system for this. Okay,
Okay.
so
And the master data related concepts and do you cover master data concepts?
yes, 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 definitely we will cover. So whatever master data we will be required to, because the master data again there are two parts. One like few master data which are used for the upstream and few master data which is used for the downstream. So what it is used in upstream and downstream, we will discuss in details about all those.
Okay. And the catalog part?
Catalog part will cover in your buying and invoicing.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
So it includes all data replication part also as well. Master data and organization data replication from Ariba as well.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
So there are two ways. Either you can export the master data from ERP system to Ariba, or you can manually upload those master data in Ariba. So both the way we will see.
Vice versa.
Sorry.
Vice versa, I think. Either Ariba to R3 or R3 to Ariba.
Yeah. Vice versa it is. Because you will maybe sometimes you'll be working for a project where you will not have S4 HANA system. That will be the completely standalone system. So in that case, how will you add your master data, or how can you work with those data in the Ariba system?
Uh, Regarding sourcing and contract, the supplier talks is same as like SRM is a bit different in Ariba.
See, process wise, it will be same. Only the application is different, right? The software is different. That is how you have worked in SRM, the way you
Yes.
have done in MM, and now you will do the same thing in Ariba. But the software will be different, and few steps will be involved. Some additional features will be here, which is not there in
No.
SRM and MM.
Yeah, that will be fetched. Yeah.
Yeah. So this sourcing and contract is also known as, this is called strategic sourcing. So it is part of sourcing and contract in Ariba. So in
One more
Ariba, we
last
will have different terminologies. Yeah,
Mhm.
One more
sorry.
last question. Sorry, will you also cover any enhancement or customization part in this?
See, the standard customization, we can do it. That is not a problem. But as you know, it is a cloud application, and the enhancements are completely there with SAP only. We cannot do any kind of enhancement in
Mhm.
any project. Whenever we need any enhancement, we need to we need to speak with SAP. We have to give our functional specification to them, and they will do it.
And the
Yeah. So for
enhancement concept will be based on the client specific, right? The based on the
Yes,
project and the client, the enhancement will be there. I think
right.
standard
So
customization that you will support.
that
As you said.
that we can do. That we can do.
Thank you. Thank you.
So
will you
basically, what
discuss like
what?
yeah
Yeah, please go on.
concepts on like if standard the Ariba solution doesn't cover like we all are from SAP background. We understand how much standard is like catering the customer requirements. So
Right,
any
right, right.
gaps, how to cater such kind of gaps, like what gaps are there, major gaps sometimes, so and drawbacks, like
Okay,
can we do we
I
discuss these also in our curriculum?
yes, I understand your concern. That is what the expectation is from everyone. Okay, because we know SAP, so we want to learn how the customization and all can be done in Ariba. So the thing is, as you know, this is completely a cloud-based product, and we have some limitation for the customization and enhancement. So before getting into any kind of customization or enhancement, first we need to check with SAP. Okay, and sometime what will happen in general, what happens during our workshop call with the customer, we try to convince to the customer to get the sign off, and we are saying anything that we can do this that. Okay, we can sometimes during workshop customer will have some requirement that is not part of the standard, but to get the sign off we are saying, yeah, we will do it in future. There will be some new features will come, and we can do that. So we'll be saying that yeah, it's possible. We're not saying that it's not possible sometimes, right? So before committing to the customer, if we are not passing this message to SAP, and then suppose we are going for implementation, and during that implementation time, because during the implementation time, first 3 months, SAP will be there with us throughout the project. If the any implementation is there, so at that time, if we'll ask the same to SAP will not agree on that. So if suppose
Yeah.
any enhancement or customization is there, before committing it to the customer, we need to speak with SAP first, that this is what the customer requirement is. If SAP is okay,
Yeah.
then only we can go
So
ahead. Otherwise, clearly,
yeah.
strictly we, because see, based on my experience, I'm just telling you what happens sometimes. Customer will force you to do the customization because maybe that will be their requirement, right? So we will tell them that this is not supported by Ariba, but as of now we can customize it based on your requirement, but in future, not today, maybe after 1 year 2 year, you will have a lot of issues, and that is what
Is there
happened.
any is there any channel from SAP side, like these customizations are supported, or these kind of requirements are supported through Ariba enhancements? Okay, beyond field addition as such. So because
Those things can be done.
already Ariba on cloud is like little bit mature, like 7 to 8
Right.
years. Yeah,
Correct.
so already quite number of customers have implemented. So is there any place where SAP mentions this, or uh,
No,
yeah? So
actually, see, adding a new field is not a big issue. You can
correct.
add the number of field whatever it is required to the customer, but for that, SAP always suggesting is don't go beyond 5% of the customization for any module if you're working for. But I have seen the customer when we have done the customization more than 10%, we've done the customization 20% also, because that is their requirement. So suppose there are
Yeah.
now in standard, suppose there are 10 fields which are there to create a
Okay.
supplier,
Yeah,
but
I think I
customers
got it.
expectation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So also, do we discuss, like integration with the Ariba kind of app store, right? You have third party integration apps to get the uh, few of the requirements done. Do we also
See,
talk about that integration in this course?
Um, okay, let me tell you one thing first. So as of now, whenever we are going for any integration with S4 HANA or ERP or Ariba, okay, earlier we used to integrate it with PIPO or any third-party integration tool. But now SAP has strictly mentioned nowadays, and he has cleared with all the clients that whoever is working in S4 HANA or ECC, they have to, by default now they have to integrate their system with Ariba in CIG only. So now CIG is the platform and or the middleware, you can say, via which we are integrating both the system. Apart from these two, if we are integrating with any other ERP, any other like middleware, SAP is strictly denying that. So whatever the integration touch point we have from SAP S4 HANA to Ariba or Ariba to S4 HANA, those things we are going to cover.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So, Kumar, whatever the consultant scope, because up to certain extent we can do our customization, like plant creation or company creation, whatever. So, whatever the scope you are going to demonstrate in on system, right? In the
Yes,
this
everything. Yeah.
exam.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'll show everything in the system.
So, yes. Yes. I know we have limited scope as a part of consultant. Most of the things can be done by SAP itself.
So
Like
you are
SAP
aware of
playing
that.
the role of other. SAP will play role like avatar.
Yes.
Correct.
Right. Exactly. So, but this is the language is Java, so they are taking care
Yes.
of the language, means the coding part, technical part completely managed by them.
And
Yeah.
also the way of working, like if normal R3 we have support system, ticketing tool is there. But in Ariba, there is a different methods, right? How to raise the ticket to SAP, the way
Right,
of
right, right.
working with SAP. That also you are going to cover, right? In the real
Correct.
time, how we are going. Okay.
Yes, yes. So for that, we have Ariba Connect concept where we are raising
Yes.
our ticket, the service request, whatever we have to raise, we have to get into Ariba Connect, and Ariba Connect is the access which will be there with some
Okay.
limited employee in a particular team, not for everyone, but whoever will have any issue, they can reach out to. So usually it will be there with the project lead or the team lead.
So here, can we get access for practice purpose? I mean, we are
For
Ariba
Ariba
system or
Connect, Ariba
okay.
system we will be getting for practice. Yeah,
Practice. Ariba
Ariba
Connect
system
Uh,
will.
or CIG?
Ariba Connect is quite difficult, but I'll try to get it from somewhere because I said see SAP Ariba nowadays at least you are getting the system for practice. Earlier,
Okay.
because Ariba is a product where SAP is not selling it to any institutes or anywhere else, so they are giving it to someone who is having partnership with SAP.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes.
So if suppose they are giving it to some particular institute or because it is very costly as well. Okay. So nobody can buy it like this. So they have to pay a lot for this. So they are based on your, requirements. They are like suppose what are the application you want to use. First, you have to initially give the requirement that this is what we need Ariba Connect, we need the Ariba supplier network, we need CIG will be on board by default, it will be coming. So like that, you have to tell your requirement. Based on that, they will charge.
Okay.
But here
Uh,
we will be getting maximum whatever we can get. So at least I will let you know whatever it is required to you for practice, so that you will not be a at least you will have idea for each and everything, so you can see the
yes.
screen as well.
And which version of Ariba now currently the demo will can happen or practice
Sorry.
purpose? What is the Ariba version on which we are going to perform demo, right? Training. What is the Ariba
Yeah.
system version you are using?
It is 19 we are using, and current version it is 2208. So in
Yes.
SAP, what we have like in Ariba, in every 3 quarters the versions are going to change for the app, for the server, not for the server, for the certifications basically.
Okay.
In every 3 months, there will be a new version we'll be creating. So quarter
Yes.
wise, the SAP Ariba is creating the new versions.
Why I am asking in the recent release, they have
Hmm.
added direct procurement related changes as well. Direct
Right,
procurement.
right,
So that's the
correct.
reason I'm asking what was version you are using for training or practice purpose. That
Hmm.
settings everything will cover, right? Direct procurement.
Yes,
Because
yes,
the
yes.
previous version that is not that scope is not there.
Right, and previously it was not there at all.
uh, is same as like SRM or is a different environment?
It
It
is
will be
not
at least.
SRM.
Mhm,
See, basically, Ariba is the combination of the existing SRM, whatever we had, because
mhm.
now SAP is not supporting for SRM. So whatever
Okay.
functionality we had in SRM plus little bit
Mhm,
of MM, they
mhm,
combined and they have created a new product called Ariba.
mhm.
So yes, basically like the way you have worked in SRM. If you have worked in SRM, many things you will be getting similar to that in Ariba.
Yeah. Then currently I'm working in SRM, so an SRM
Okay.
operation. That's why I'm asking.
Hmm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I understand. Because
Thank you.
either the SRM or the MM guys, we are moving from our background to Ariba.
Mm.
If you want to get into cloud completely. And
Okay.
nowadays Ariba is hot, super hot, I would say. So
Yes.
at least for next 2 years, 3 years, 4 years down the line, it will be very. And not and it is in every company. It is not like in a company there are a lot of Ariba resources. No, not a single company where you will be getting the bench for Ariba.
Yes.
Yes, no, ARIBA is demand, but see, 5 to 6 years back, SRM is very demand. Now SRM is going to be obsoleted. Again, after three,
Right.
4 years, maybe the new software SAP will do all this marketing practice. They
This,
once
that
they
is what
got the
You know,
maximum
Ariba
market, they
is
will release new product, they will obsolete ARIBA.
they
for,
have all.
for 5 years. There's no future. It's for HANA. I think they are going to push. It's
Yes,
Yeah,
only
there
yeah.
are marketing
It's
strategies.
it's
they want to
already
kill
started,
SRM.
right?
Yeah, yeah,
You might be heard about central procurement, right?
correct.
Central procurement is the future. After 5 years, definitely Ariba will not be there. So all the Ariba
Yes,
features will be combined. All the Ariba features and the features will be combined together, and everything will be implemented in a central procurement.
keep
That
on
is the
revolution, keep
future.
on changing. Mm.
Yeah, yeah. That is how they have to survive in the industry, right? So they have lot of competitors,
SAP will get money, right, by changing all
right?
this.
Right.
Okay.
Sorry, one more last question. Like, do you also support little bit like, regarding certification, anything, some clues or like that, Kumar?
I'll 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 support for certification, not a problem.
Are you certified?
I'm certified in almost all the modules.
Okay, Ariba as well, right?
Yeah, in Ariba itself, I'm saying. I'm so in
Yes.
Ariba we have
Seven
certification
modules.
for we have cert no we don't have certification of for all the modules. We have certifications for supplier management, sourcing, contract, not for supplier risk, not for spend, not for commerce automation. So we have
Okay,
certification for supplier management, sourcing, contract, buying and invoicing, and guided buying. These are included. These three modules are included in procurement, procure to pay, and we have certification for supply chain collaboration and CIG. So for every
okay,
project, usually you will be getting a separate CIG consultant for
okay,
every company.
okay,
So overall, this supplier risk spend analysis, this covers in SLP itself. Whenever you will go for any SLP, means supplier management uh, uh, certification, you will get the questions from supplier risk especially.
Okay.
There is no particular certification for commerce automation. This is also part of this is the indirect procurement. Sorry, for the direct procurement it is used, so it is again involved in buying side. So total we have one, two, three, four, five, six, including CIG. There is a competition of certification as well in the market.
yeah. I
But
think
Kumar, as
we can.
see, initial stage of SAP, they are giving more importance to certification. But I think
Right.
now not much. Just we are it add value, but not that much importance like earlier days, right?
Uh, that
Exactly.
is that based on client, the value or the certification value provided thing.
Yes, of course. Like, whenever your team, your sales team or your pre-sales
Mm,
team are approaching for it to any clients
mm,
for the demonstration or for any kind of POC, they are asking, right? So how many certified
okay.
consultants you have? Because the clients, if it is Indian client, it is not an issue. If it is a foreign clients, they focus more on the certifications.
Yes, exactly. They
Yeah, so that is how it happens. So
if they
there
want to
will be
buy
few.
us, then surely they will need certification, guys.
Right. So there will be few customers who will be asking before finalization of the project itself that what is the how many resources, how many total Ariba resource you have, how many your bench strength, and how many Ariba resource you will be are certified, and how many Ariba resource which you are providing or which will be deployed to our project. Can you send me the list of those employees and are they certified or not? So that is how their requirement is. So in that case, every company wants to show themselves that my all these resources are certified.
Thank
Anything else? I think we have covered everything today. But fine, just I wanted to go through the deck which we have prepared, and if you have any other
Yeah, I
questions,
think
we'll
now you
just
can. Yeah,
yeah,
we had asked too
fine.
many questions. Thanks.
Yeah, yeah, no problem. Fine. So this is what the ARIBA evaluation, I think everybody will be aware of. This started in 2012. So prior to 2012, ARIBA was the independent company, and then SAP acquired in 2012. And after that, they have done a lot of R&Ds, and nowadays also they are doing. So the concept of getting ARIBA into SAP is to obsolete SRM. That is how they are going to do it, and they are going to do all the R&Ds in Ariba in spite of SAP. And it is one of the largest B2B network, I'll say. So where you will have, there will be lot of suppliers who can, they can sell their products, or they can, you know, meet with new suppliers, and they can increase their business. That is how they can increase their relationship. So from one supplier to another supplier, they can buy, they can sell, they can manage. So one supplier, if suppose he doesn't know his competitor, he can get those suppliers in a Ariba network, and he can connect with them. So that is the best part for the suppliers. So that's the reason everybody is, means all the suppliers are getting into Ariba. And it is mandatory that if anybody wants to sell any product, so for any supplier, if they want to sell their product, they have to register themselves in Ariba network, like in Amazon. So whatever the supplier we have, or whoever is registering in Amazon, they're they're only getting the business from Amazon customers, right? So in the same way, we have Ariba network concept where all the supplier has to register, and if they have registered themselves, they can get all the information online, which will be managed by both, or managed by both, in the sense both buyer and supplier. So whatever information the buyer wants to share with with the supplier, the supplier can get all the information online. So for that, that is how Ariba network and the buying system is connected. So if suppose supplier wants to share any information, so there will be the platform just they have to go there, and they have to write the message whatever they want to share with the buyer. So whatever they will do there in the uh, uh, Ariba network system, that will be visible to the buyer. And suppose buyer wants to share any information with the supplier, they can share the information. But yes, for buyer there will be the limitation whether they want to see that functionality or they are allowing that functionality to see it to the supplier or not. So that is how the like option which will be there for the buying side. So if they want to restrict any messages, any kind of messages for any module, whatever it is there we have, so they can
Similar
restrict that.
Ariba network is SUS.
Ariba network is.
SUS. In SRM, we have SUS, is the supplier self-service system. They can receive
Yes.
POs and everything. They
Exactly,
can communicate.
exactly. So Ariba network is the place where they will be receiving all the uh, like proposals, all the contracts, all the purchase orders. So everything they can like it will be kind of dashboard where they will be getting everything, all the information, all the purchase orders, all the uh, like proposals, all the contracts, everything they can get there. Okay. So it is just I wanted to show the cloud part, like this is how Ariba and because nowadays S4 HANA is also into cloud, right? That is how they are dealing and with the suppliers and in cloud itself. Because now many suppliers, they also wanted to get into the system earlier. Earlier, what was happening, the suppliers was not agreed to get into Ariba network. Maybe at that time they were not clear on much, but the SAP is not charging anything to them for from the suppliers to register them into Ariba network. They are starting charging once they will have good business in Ariba network. Then SAP will start charging. So for that, they will have some packages like diamond package, platinum package, like that. So yearly, based on their business turnover, they will ask something around 5%, 3%, 4%. So based on it, it is part of the negotiation and based and part of the annual turnover. Okay. So this is how the illustration or the portfolio, how it looks like. So here we'll have this is completely our cloud platform where we have, where there will be the ARIBA network where the suppliers and buyer will connect together. And these are the modules like supplier management, strategic sourcing. So strategic sourcing covers our sourcing and contract and spend part. Supplier management is our supplier life cycle and performance module, and supplier risk as well. So basically in supplier management, we have different activities like supplier request, supplier registration, supplier qualification, supplier disqualification, and preferred supplier. So these are the activities which we have in supplier management module. So that will cover within this. So in supplier request, basically we are going to start the onboarding process for any supplier. So just to onboard the supplier in Ariba. So, and it has to be done by the buyer. So buyer will onboard that supplier on behalf of the supplier basically. So that is part of our supplier request. Then once supplier request is done, there will be the unique ID which will be generated, and then you can go for the supplier registration. So when we are going for the supplier registration, there will be some standard questionnaire which will be created by the buying by the buyer basically. And those questionnaire, whatever we want to ask it to the supplier to make him registered with you in a Ariba network, those question has to be respond, means the supplier has to respond those questionnaire. And
Uh,
it
Sorry to interrupt. Is that
yeah,
buyer means purchaser?
yes.
Okay.
Okay. So here like when like if you have worked in SRM and S4 in MM, when you are creating any supplier, right? So when you're onboarding the supplier in S4 MM or in uh, SRM. So you need the basic information about the supplier. After that, you're asking them the banking information, tax information. So here, basically in Ariba, it is divided into two parts. In supplier request, you are not asking any tax information questions. You are not asking any banking information data, right? So this is how it is divided. So in supplier, once your supplier request is done, that is just the uh, basic information which we are filling, like name of the supplier, address and all. And in supplier registration, we are going to, when we are starting the registration process, we are asking the few information like banking information and tax information details from the supplier side to get him registered successfully. Okay. And then the next process will be the supplier qualification. So after registration, if you want to qualify that supplier, you go for qualification. Otherwise, it is not mandatory that that supplier has to be qualified. So they have given three concepts: supplier request, registration, and qualification. Request is must. After request, once you are registered, because at the end, after registration or after qualification, you have to like sync this supplier, or you have to push this supplier to your ERP system for the integration. So that is how SAP has given the option to register your to integrate your supplier even after registration. So you can do it after registration or after qualification. It depends. But most of the clients, they are going for the integration, or they are going to integrate their supplier after registration itself. Because in qualification also you will be doing the same things. You will be asking some questionnaire, like these are the questions which we required to make you qualify successfully in Ariba. So the same question whatever you are going to ask in qualification, same thing you can ask in registration as well. But it completely depend on the clients. Client will ask, no, we need three separate questionnaire for three different process, and at the end it will depend whether they want to qualify it after they want to integrate it after registration or after qualification. Any question here?
See, supplier is registering initially with the ARIBA network, right? So
No,
till
no,
that
no.
time,
Yeah. See, listen. There are two things. If supplier is already registered with Ariba network, means he will have a ANID. For example, now you're working in ABC company now. Okay. And the supplier, maybe previously he is registered himself in Ariba network and he's doing making his business with Deloitte, IBM, KPMG or some other companies. But today your company is going to implement SAP Ariba, right? For example, you are working in TCS. So in TCS today, they are going to implement Ariba. And in Ariba now, who, for example, your client is L&T. L&T is your client. So now L&T will have a supplier, and that supplier may have registered himself in Ariba network almost 5 years back, and he is there in Ariba network already. So in that case, so whenever the supplier will register himself in Ariba network, he will have a unique ID that is called ANID, Ariba network ID. That will be the unique ID for that particular supplier. For every supplier, whoever will register himself in Ariba network, they will have the ANID. So when we are, suppose now in today when you are implementing
Kumar, that
Ariba in your,
ANID is common for all customers, right? Whoever interacting with that supplier, correct?
yes,
For example,
yes,
supplier is dealing with 5 different customers, then that ID will be same for all 5 customers.
yes, that ANID,
Is it?
that for that particular supplier, that ANID will be common.
Okay.
In
Okay.
case if that supplier is not registered with Ariba network, now suppose just now L&T have a supplier and he's dealing with the supplier and that supplier is not yet registered in Ariba network. So in that case, when we will start the registration process, when the supplier will receive email notification for the registration, at that time itself, he will get the option sign in and sign up. If the supplier is already registered in Ariba network, he will just use his credential to log in into Ariba network by using his credential because he is already registered. If that supplier is not registered yet in Ariba network, then he will create a new profile there. So he has to sign up and he has to register himself. And the moment he will complete his sign up, an ID will be created and that will be updated automatically in the Ariba system for that particular supplier, which we have already onboarded in supplier request activity.
so when you are saying requesting supplier, okay,
Hmm.
one thing is like whoever is registered in Ariba network, we can invite them, okay, for any. And how about the one who is not already in Ariba network? So is there an option like you send out an email or through our sell side itself, so from buy side itself?
Yeah, that is what I said. If supplier is so, see, whenever we will start the registration process, there will be an option where you will be seeing the email ID of the supplier, and because when you have completed your supplier request activity at the time of onboarding, you will have to enter the supplier email ID. So once your
Okay.
supply request is done, when you are starting your registration process, the email ID will be automatically pop up there. So there will be the box where you will be able to see the supplier email ID. And on the right hand side, you will be getting the supplier registration questionnaire. And just below, you will be getting the option to send the email. So the moment you will click on send, the supplier registration invitation will be sent to the supplier via email only, whatever email ID you have mentioned at the time of onboarding the supplier. So now when the
And
supplier will
based on that email, he will say sign in or sign up. If he's already registered
yes,
in Ariba network, he will use the existing credentials and submit our registration
the,
questionnaire.
correct. If he is
Okay.
not
Now,
registered, then he will sign up and he will create his account, new account.
Okay, and he whatever questionnaire that he is submitting will be only we as like TCS, like company will be getting the evaluation, and we'll do that evaluation, right?
Right, because when the
Is that
supplier will
information seen or updated to supplier profile, and other companies can see that information?
no, nobody can
Okay.
see.
One more
That
question.
will
Say this is we are talking about the new supplier registered. Okay, so
right,
whoever is moving to Ariba already is doing business currently, whether it is S4 HANA or SRM. So we already have pre-existing, like 90% of suppliers. How do
right.
we push that to the Ariba network then?
See, I think. Can you repeat your question once again?
My question is, see, we are talking about any new supplier that has to be registered.
Huh. Yeah.
Okay. Now, whoever is like, implementing Ariba being an SAP solution, we are doing current business dealing with all our suppliers. We already have, say,
Right.
90% existing suppliers, whether from S4 HANA or SRM.
Right.
Okay. So now for me to use Ariba solution, how do I get registered these vendors? So they all have
Okay.
to, yeah, you got my question, right?
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Mm,
See, so here what happens when the customer is coming to us. So suppose your customer is L&T. So when the project starts, before starting the project, when the discussion happens, at that time itself, we ask to the customer that how many customers are means how many customers you have, means how many suppliers you are dealing with. They will say 2,000, 3,000. Okay. At that time, we don't know whether that supplier is registered with Ariba network or not, because we are not connecting with the supplier, right? The buyer
correct.
is dealing with the supplier. So when we start the project, at that time we clear, because before starting itself, at the time of POC or demo, we clearly mentioned to the client that this is what the use of supplier network or the Ariba network which we have. Here, all the supplier has to register themselves. Now, buyer will say, if suppose the supplier will not ready to further register themselves in Ariba network, then what will we do? That is the
No, no,
genuine question.
even say let us take the positive case itself. I want to
Hmm.
onboard all my existing suppliers for to Ariba
Uh,
network. So who will
right.
register them? We ask all these vendors, or do we have
No,
to
no, no.
again send a registration to all these thousands of suppliers, or how is it?
No. There are two ways. One way is there will be the standard supplier template we have in Ariba. So we have to, first of all, from the ERP side, we have to export all these supplier details, and then we have to export the standard CSV file which we have in Ariba, and we have to fill all the details, and we have to load it. This is one process.
So
Another,
loading
so
will
so
create a master data in Ariba. That is one point.
right,
Now
right.
getting access and
Another,
all for the suppliers to Ariba.
I'm coming there. So another way is where, so you are talking about your legacy vendor basically, right?
Correct.
So when you are creating the suppliers in Ariba, so suppose there is a new supplier which you have created in Ariba, and then you are going for the registration, then account is going to create, and after that you are pushing it to the ERP system for integration. So this is one way of the integration how it works.
New
Another way of
registered
integration,
vendors. Yeah.
correct. So these are your new registration. Another way of integration from ERP vendors to Ariba is your legacy vendors, whatever you have, 3,000, 4,000 suppliers you have. If you have so many suppliers, then in that case, what you need to do, you have to, as I said, there will be the standard CSV file where you need to mention the list of all the suppliers. So there will be the column name of the supplier. So whatever we require to onboard them in Ariba. So name of the supplier, supplier details, address, banking information, whatever you want to fill in that sheet to onboard them in supplier. So first we have to onboard in Ariba, and then the registration process will start, so that they can create the network ID. Another way is you have to export the supplier. So there is a process called DRF out. DRF out is the concept from ERP system. You have to push the supplier from S4 HANA to Ariba. So in DRF out process, what you need to do is there will be the standard replication model process, which will be, or it's a kind of program which will be created by the business in a paper. So they will work together to get that details. And once they will be done in that DRF out process, we need to just mention the business partner, means the supplier name, supplier number, company code, and the purchase organization. And we have to just export it. Your job is done. If individually, if you want to do it, if you want to do it for multiple suppliers, then you have to like list out all the supplier details somewhere, and the same information you have to mention in the CSV file, and you have to load it in a Ariba system, and then you start your registration process. So
Okay, so we load
to
it into Ariba system, then start the registration process, and they'll get the
correct.
email, and if they already have, they'll
Hmm.
log in. Otherwise, they'll sign up. Sign up.
And one
Yeah.
more thing, very important thing, I'm just trying to tell you because this is what happening in the real time. So once you have done based on your 4,000 customers requirement, who will be responsible for doing all this? Your buyer is not going to sit and do all these things, right? So from the consulting team, from suppose we are working in TCS. So now what we will do, we will have a team. Along with the consulting team, we will have some 4 to 5 uh, employees who will be dedicatedly working to onboard all these suppliers into Ariba. So this will be the 3 months, 4 months activity where they have to speak with the supplier to get the information and upload successfully in Ariba. So it takes 3 to 4 months to upload or to not loading the supplier is not an issue, to register themselves successfully in Ariba.
Why
So
do you have to speak again? Because we already have some data. Okay, already I'm doing business, my legacy vendors, right?
see, if you
Now,
have that is fine. If you have that is fine. But how would, I mean, sometimes there will be few new vendors will be there, or sometimes because you also have to inform them, right, that they are going to register themselves in a Ariba network. So at that time, supplier will not knowing
that
the
is, yeah,
process,
that
right?
is part of change management. So
Yes,
from system point of view, say, so we have to, whatever legacy vendors we have loaded onto Ariba, we have to select each individual supplier and send, request something like with the email
for
that
registration.
please registered with
Yes, yes,
Ariba network.
yes.
Okay,
And this
that's an
activity goes at,
independent
yeah, yeah, yeah. This
independent item.
activity goes, correct. This
Okay,
activity goes 3 to 4 months.
okay,
So before,
fine.
so
I
before go
think, yeah,
live,
I think for for now, I think that answers. You answered well. Yeah,
yeah.
thank you.
And this is your real time scenario, because for every
That is what
customer, ev-
that is what
yeah.
we wanted. Yeah.
So here, when the project start, everybody thinks that okay, this is our project deadline, and this time will be go live. But at that time, if your project lead is, you know, has forgotten this activity, where this is very important activity, right? So you will be focusing only on the template configuration. You'll be showing everything in the system, but you forgot to manage this activity. Will be very much difficult for them, because at the end, what will happen? System they are going live, but the suppliers are not there in a Ariba network. So they will face again lot of issues. So before that, it's before go live itself, we have to inform to the your client itself that this is the please share with us all the your legacy vendors, and then whatever, because in legacy system there may be so many suppliers, but they don't want to use all those suppliers, so we cannot export directly from the ERP system. We will ask them to export the data and let us know what exactly, which maybe they don't want to go with all the suppliers, so they will have some particular supplier which they wanted to onboard in Ariba.
How
So
is the
this is
reporting
how,
capability? Yeah, yeah. How is the reporting
re-
capability? Say, I'm sorry, asking too many
No
questions,
problem.
but how is the reporting capability like, say, in Ariba, like we want to monitor how many have been registered, how many we have
Hmm.
sent off. Can we do
So those,
anything or
yes, we have the standard reports for that.
okay,
We have standard reports. We have more than 200 reports in Ariba. Like in S4, if you want to, so there is little bit difference, not much, I would say. Like in S4 HANA, we can customize the report table as per the client's requirement, as many as or so many customization or the enhancement we are doing in the reporting side, in the table level. But in Ariba, we have this limitation. So in Ariba, we will have all the standard reports, basically whatever it is required to the client. But if any customization is required in the table level, means in the reporting side, we will have some limitation. But here we need not write any functional specification to the SAP system. Just we need to go there and we have to create the standard field and standard reports based on the client's requirement. So we
okay,
need
so
not,
the functional consultant can configure,
yes,
customize.
functional consultant can do all these activities.
I think we can go ahead. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Even the user part, like we will have lot of users, right? So user creation, user role, user authorization, all these uh, have to manage by the Ariba consultant only. Here no basis role will be there. Here, like in S4, basis team is creating the users, he's assigning the roles and all, right? So here Ariba consultant have to do all these activities.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other question in supplier side, supplier management?
I'm sorry to interrupt. Actually, user creations and all do by user administration team, like a basis security team, right?
No, no, in Ariba we have to do it. As a consultant, we need to do it. Our team will do it.
Okay.
In S4 HANA, it
So,
will be done by basis.
okay. So how they do actually is a part of course or
It is part of course. I'll show you how to create the user. How are you going to assign the roles?
no? Thank you.
Because Ariba is completely role specific. If you are working, if you are assigning, if suppose you are a SLP, a supplier management module, means you are a SLP consultant, you will not get the authorization for a strategic sourcing or procurement part. You will be getting the all the admin access for SLP only. But there may be the project where you will be getting the access for all the modules, but you should have that role. I'll
Okay.
create a user for you and I'll give you the authorization for all the modules. But if I'll not assign the role to you, like suppose there is a particular role we have for sourcing. If that role, if I'll not assign on behalf of you or for the particular user, then that user cannot access the sourcing activities. He can work only in SLP part.
Okay.
So like that for each and every module, there will be the limitation for the consultants as well as for the buyers. Like from the buying side, again, we will be asking the rules for the users from the user point of view. So how many users are working for SLP? How many users will be working for sourcing? How many for contracts? How many for buying and invoicing? How many for commerce automation? So they will give us the list. And then we will ask, okay, in this list, what role should we provide to this uh, to
Request.
the team members? So then they will let us know, okay, if this is my supplier management user, don't give any permission for the sourcing.
Yes.
So
Exactly.
the yeah, so role assignment, supplier creation. This is managed by the Ariba consultant only. Whoever will have the admin role. Like admin role also will not be there with all the consultants. Always it will be there with the team lead and project lead.
So like basis and security in our R3, similar way Ariba basis and security will be there. They will take care, right? All this
Yes.
authorization.
So here we ourselves, I mean our team will be taking care of all this in spite of. any other department like basis and security, we have to take. Security is completely, taken care by Ariba. That is not a problem. But this role part, role creation, assignments, and all will be done by the Ariba team.
ARIBA consultant only. Okay.
Yes, for all the modules, not only for one module, for any module, the same activity. But these
Okay.
all the
And
activities, yeah, go
sorry,
on.
Kumar, please go ahead.
Yeah, for all these activities, we need to ask before or the time of project, means when the development starts. At that time itself, we ask all these activities because it takes lot of time.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah. You was asking something. Please go on.
Yeah, see, this like we are newly introducing into Ariba, we need to upload all the existing suppliers who into Ariba network. That is all the tools inbuilt in Ariba, or again we need to use third-party tools for uploading.
Yes. No, no, that is inbuilt because uh, let it finish. Then I'll try to get into the system and I'll show
No,
you
no problem. Yes, yes. That
whatever
is too
what
much
will.
in training question.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. No
Yes.
problem. Fine. So those are your role and user level things which I wanted to discuss. Okay, and that is your SLP process where you you will be doing all these activities like including supplier onboarding, supplier performance evaluation, and the supplier risk management. And remember one thing, like we have uh, test system for each and every module, excluding Ariba spend analysis. We will have the test system for SLP, sourcing, contract, supplier risk, buying and invoicing, supply chain collaboration, commerce automation, everything. But we will not have the test system for spend analysis. This is managed completely by SAP only.
I mean, direct. We have only production system Ariba spend
Yes,
analysis used by
yes,
stakeholder.
yes, yes,
Correct?
yes, correct.
Okay. And one more thing,
Okay.
for R3, we are using all Fiori app to
Hmm.
approval and places. Same Ariba also we need to use Fiori app only, or directly Ariba itself have own app to perform the day-to-day activities.
In Ariba itself, you can do it. Or in Ariba also, we have the mobile app functionality.
So,
So
so currently customers are not using Fiori app, right? While they are using Ariba.
not required.
Okay, okay.
Once you'll get into Ariba system, it will looks like your Fury app itself.
Okay, then okay, that would be fine. Okay.
Yeah.
But say for example, my client using both R3 and Ariba, we can use the same app as the front end for both backend Ariba and R3, right? That type,
Yes.
maybe
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
possible,
Yeah.
right? Okay,
Yes,
okay.
that is. SAP has announced or he has made one announcement for the integration that the customer should have minimum ERP 6.0 EHP 6. So EHP 6 and above, if suppose the customer is running their business as in
Yes.
ERP, in ECC now, they should have either 6.0 or above.
How about the minimum version? Anyone should have. Yeah.
Minimum version. But I have seen the customer where they were using HP 5 also, and
But
we have integrated that.
someday they
We
have
have,
to forcefully go to upper version.
yes.
They
So
will stop.
at the
SAP
end,
stop supporting.
right. So they have to migrate themselves in S4 at the end. Maybe now the budget is not there, so because of that they have not done. But again, it is their risk because we have mentioned clearly that EHP 5, because SAP suggested to go means after 6.0 itself, not beyond that. But the customer was having 5, so we don't had any option, right? So we had committed that we'll implement, so we have to do it. But when it was in EHP 5, there was lot of struggle for the adapters, not for us, but for the adapters. They have to do a lot of customizations, but at the end they have to migrate into SAP S4 if they want to run their business in SAP. So that's the reason SAP
Initially,
has extended their timeline, right?
initially they were saying like they need S4 HANA as mandatory to go with Ariba.
Hmm.
That
So
was the
that is how,
flagship, and it
right.
started.
Ac- Actually, that is good because at the end, what will happen when once now SAP has extended their time till 2030, I guess, right? Earlier, they had given the timeline for 2025 till 2025. All the customers have to migrate themselves into S4 HANA. Now, because of all these issues, maybe they have extended it to till 30 because at the end, all the supplier has to upgrade themselves into S4. So
S4
that is
HANA. That
how
is the
that is
first
how
agenda.
yeah, right. So that is how the SAP's plan is. It would be easy. Actually, it is easy for us also. Like now, suppose there is a customer who is uh, implementing S4 HANA from beginning. For them, the integration is very easy. It won't take much time. But now suppose what will happen, you are dealing with the customer. Currently they are into ECC and they want to implement or Ariba with an integration with ECC. But next year means maybe this will be the scope of your project itself. So as of now, we will integrate Ariba into ECC and then we will migrate from ECC to S4HANA. So it will be rework for us. The same activity, whatever we are doing in ECC now, the same thing we have to do it in S4. So what we are suggesting is first
Good
migrate
thing for
yourself.
us.
Yeah, but
One more project. Yeah,
customers will not listen. So what? It is not loss for us, right? So
yeah,
it is good
exactly.
for us, right? So I've seen the customers like. So we have suggested them that go for S4 then in spite of going for Ariba now, first you migrate yourself in S4 HANA and then we will go ahead. No, 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 we want to start it from now itself. Then okay, fine. We don't have any issue. Okay, fine. So that was part of our supplier management. And then next is our strategic sourcing concept. So in strategic sourcing, we are covering this sourcing, contract and spend analysis. So in sourcing, basically, like in S4 HANA and MM side, we are creating the RFQs, request for quotations. So in Ariba, we have the concept of RFP, that is request for proposal. So here what we are doing is we are, inviting the suppliers. So here everything is happening online. Once the supplier is registered themselves in Ariba network, now when they are starting this sourcing activities, so in sourcing, we have different project event type. We have like RFI, RFP, auction. So RFI is request for information. RFP is request for proposal. And the auction is basically a reverse auction concept. So in RFI, if you are trying to get the technical information from the supplier, then you are creating RFI. If you are going for proposal, means directly you are dealing with the cost of the product. And then auction is again the kind of RFP where you are going for your proposal, but in auction it is reverse auction concept. Reverse auction concept in the sense, now suppose you are starting your bid with the supplier, you are going for the bidding now, and as a buyer you have fixed your price. Like if I'm negotiating or suppose I want to buy 100 laptops, so per laptop it should be 80K. So 80K should be the cost
Hello,
which I'm looking for. Now, when the supplier will negotiate online, so he cannot negotiate below. Sorry, sorry if you are
I
not
think we
speaking. Can
have
you
to
go on
mute.
mute?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
Dore
So
Makotiga.
when you 1 second, yeah, fine.
Sorry, Kumar. In SRM, we have bidding part is there. Two part bidding, three part bidding,
Hmm.
land live
So here,
action. So similar way we can do in Ariba as well, right?
So we don't have 3 line, 4 line concept. Here we have only one bidding process where you will have you will be sending some means you are going to open the bidding for some particular time. So you are inviting 5 6 suppliers, whatever you want to invite them, and then within that time duration they have to respond to the bid.
Actually, in SRM, we have a concept called PPS, private for public sector. That is generally for
Mm-hmm.
all government sectors, high dollar value. Very high dollar.
Right.
Generally, they will do for two-way, three-way bidding, something like that. So
Okay.
financial bidding and technical bidding separate. Two. So I thought similar way we can do it, but not possible in Ariba right now. Okay.
Not exactly same. We have see the functionality in Ariba for RFP for the bidding is quite similar to SRM, but not 100% whatever we had in SRM. So here basically, when we are starting the bidding, at that time, we know our product, what product we are looking for, and who are the suppliers, right? So whether if suppose you're going for the laptop, you know your supplier information, you know your supplier market basically. So you are identifying those suppliers, and you are going for the bidding only for those particular suppliers.
Okay.
Okay, and you are inviting them, and now this all will happen online. Now the buyer will start the bidding, supplier will have some time. So when the bidding will start, the buyer side means we will make the configuration according to the buyer's requirement, that when the bid will start, it will be there for 1 week or 1 month or 1 day or 2 day. So it depends on them how much time they are looking for. Based on that, we'll set the time, and then the time will start. If suppose we are going to publish the event now, the event will start now. And if you have given the time duration for 5 hours, so after 5 hours the event will close. And within these 5 hours, suppose you have invited 10 suppliers. So within this 5 hours, suppose three supplier has responded, then the buyer can see that three supplier has responded with this much of the cost. If they want to close the event, they can close it also, but they have given the time for 5 hours, so they will wait. Maybe they will get the good good budget in within this
Question
time
తప్పుడు
period.
దుఃఖమ్మా నీరు వేయడమే కాదు.
Okay, so that is our sourcing activities. Any questions? Do you have any question in sourcing?
So we
Okay,
have both public tendering and like limited tendering concept in Ariba, right?
so here it is depend on
Open.
you, like how many suppliers you are going to invite, and what are the supplier market you are looking for. Based on that, you can select or you can invite your suppliers for the bidding. So when
Okay.
you are going to start the bidding, you will have the list of all the suppliers, but you know for which supplier or you are going to start your bidding, because you know your product. Based on the product, you are going to start your bidding process.
Meaning there is a yeah, I might also not know like
Mhm.
the list of suppliers. So I think it's okay. We'll cover during the
So
next
if you
session.
don't know the supplier, then you can. So if you know the supplier and that supplier is registered with Ariba network, you will be able to see that supplier in your Ariba system. If that supplier is not registered, and if you want to go for the bidding with someone who is not yet registered, in that case you can send the bidding via email itself. Then the supplier will receive the email, and from there he can respond.
Okay.
Yeah.
Work is not
So that is
mandatory, right? For vendors who are dealing with Ariba customers.
sorry, your first
No,
word.
Ariba network is not mandatory, right? For supplier.
Actually, it should be. It is not mandatory, but if the supplier is in Ariba network, it will be easy for us. Means it is easy for the buyer to communicate with the suppliers. So everything will
Okay,
happen
because
online.
Same platform,
So
Ariba buyers and Ariba
right,
so suppliers. Yes. Okay.
right. So that's the reason we always suggest to the client
Call
that please convince your supplier to register himself in Ariba network, because they are not charging anything to register them in Ariba net. Just they have to fill a form. That's it. They will get into Ariba system and they will have all the access. And at the end, we will train them. How can you work on that?
customer. Yes.
Yes. So
Okay.
when we start the onboarding process, at that time itself, from our side, whoever will be responsible, he will be arranging a session where we will explain them how to register themselves and how can they onboard in Ariba. So that is just a form which they need to form, which they need to fill, like what is the supplier name, details, email ID, what product and services they are providing. That's it, and their ID will be created. Okay, so that is one part, and the next is our contract. So again, this is a contract management process. The best part for Ariba is nowadays, like this functionality is not there in SRM and MM. So here we have this authoring process. So everything will happen online. So they will have, there will be the pricing terms, there will be the contract terms, right? There will be the uh, contract document which they want to sign off. So everything will happen online here. So first, the from the buyer, we will design the template in such a way where the buyer will go through the contract document, then he will approve. Once it will be done, then it will be sent to the supplier. Then supplier will go through that document and he will again put his signature. So both the way, the the signature will be done. So basically, the digital signature is required here. So it has to be done by both the parties, buyer and seller. So everything will happen again online here, and your contract is ready to use.
Just for your information, Kumar, we have a
Yeah.
module called document management system in SRM as well, where
Okay.
we can prepare a contract template because different companies having different terms and conditions in the contract.
Okay.
So the document management system, it's like DTP work.
In
Just
DMS, right?
it's like where we are preparing
Yeah.
all the template model, terms and conditions, logic. If this is the case, this is. If this is the case, this is.
Mm-hmm.
Same,
Correct. Correct.
same document management system can be integrated with the contract lifecycle management as well as our PPS, I said, private for public sector. That bidding
Okay.
process, wherever we need to prepare specialized documentation for high dollar amounts, we have
Mm-hmm.
but we need to install separately for SR. But that is
Okay.
part of SRM suite.
Mm-hmm. Right. So that's the reason they are going to stop SRM now, and they are going to do all these activities in Ariba only. So this was the concept earlier in SRM, but now they have stopped
So we are
any
covering
kind
document
of
management system also, right, in the Ariba, in the training section.
document verification. Yes, we will be seeing in contract.
No, no, yeah, no. The how to prepare the document, everything
Yes,
will
yes.
be
There,
covered.
see, yeah, yeah, yeah. There
Okay,
will be the standard document will be there. Okay. On that document, because the terms and condition for making the contract will be deferred always, supplier to supplier, right? So
yes,
sorry, client to client. But there will be the standard document. On that, what you can add, what you can remove, those things we can check.
okay,
Yeah.
fine.
Fine. So, and then in between we have the supply chain concept, supply chain collaboration. So in
Okay,
supply chain, collaboration and commerce automation. So these are almost the same process where your, PRPO, everything will be created in the Ariba, in the S4 HANA system. So your PRPO will be created in S4 HANA system, and then your PO will be sent directly to the supplier, and supplier will respond with the order confirmation, advance shipping notification, then inbound delivery will be done in the S4 HANA system, and based on the inbound delivery, goods receipt will be done and the invoicing. That is your supply chain collaboration and commerce automation process. Additional features in supply chain collaboration is you can go for the consignment and subcontracting and the quality collaboration. So quality collaboration, subcontracting, and the consignment feasibility we don't have with commerce automation. It is there only with supply chain collaboration. This is the difference between these two.
One question on this supply chain collaboration is like in SRM we have scenario and SRM scenario. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
GR is getting created in
Right.
uh, push to SRM for supplier visibility.
Okay.
So SRM scenario, supplier is creating GR and GR is being created back to system. So do we have both scenarios, or what do we have here in Ariba?
In Ariba, we have to receive it. The GR will be done in SAP system.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Basically, it is scenario.
Yeah, yeah. Basically the MM. So for every Ariba project, there will be MM consultant definitely will be there in the backend. One MM consultant, one Ariba consultant. For each uh, for each module, Ariba consultant may be required, but for MM side, there will be if one MM consultant is there, that is enough.
Okay. So what do we see in the training, Kumar? Like we will see GR creating in SAP set, and we'll see that appear in supplier set, right? We'll see that in training.
See, in training, we will try to get the system if it is integrated with Ariba and S4. Okay, if it is not, usually we will not get that. Nowhere you will get that. Okay, so in that case, what we can do is we will check. We will create. We will create. I will try to show you both the process. So
Oh,
once your
oh,
PR and PO will be created in S4 HANA, and then that PO will trigger to the Ariba network, and from Ariba network, supplier will respond. Then your inbound delivery will be created in ERP system, and then your invoicing will be done.
okay,
Another way is our Ariba procurement. This is our Ariba buying and invoicing, where you will be creating your PR. Like in S4 HANA, we have the concept of PR creation, and then that PR has to approved, and then PO will be created, then the PO will be approved, and that is your final PO. But in Ariba, we have to create the PR, and once PO is approved, PO will create automatically. So the PR, once the PR is approved, means the PO will create automatically. You need not create the PO manually in Ariba system.
oh,
System will not allow you to create that.
okay. So no direct PO without initial requisition.
Yes. So here, if you want to make any amendment in PO, you have to make that change in PR level first.
So
Then a
here we are
new
talking
new
about direct procurement. Okay.
no, for indirect procurement, I'm saying.
Okay.
Ariba is completely into indirect, right? So here, once suppose you have created a PR, PO has been created. If something went wrong, you have to change in the PR level. You cannot change anything in the PO level. You have to go back to PR. You have to amend that. It will automatically update in PO. A new version will create with your
Okay.
changes. And so that is your, so there is a little difference between Ariba buying and Ariba guided buying. So in Ariba buying, you are just creating the PR has been approved, PO is created. So once PO is created, that PO number will be sent to the supplier in Ariba network. If it is integrated, that PO will be sent to the ERP system, and ERP PO number will replicate back to Ariba, and that number will be sent to the supplier. So there are two scenarios. If your Ariba buying is integrated with ERP system, then once the PO will be created in Ariba, it will sync with your S4 HANA system, and in S4 HANA, the PO number will be generated automatically based on the integration, and the PO number which is created in S4 HANA, that number will replicate back to the Ariba system, and that ERP PO number will be sent to the supplier. But
Yeah.
if you're working in a project where it is not integrated with ERP system, then your PR means your PO will be created in Ariba, and that PO number will be sent to the supplier network, means your Ariba network to the supplier. And then supplier will respond, and you will do goods receipt and invoicing in Ariba.
Uh, Kumar, see, in ERP, we can create PO or PR for multiple scenarios like sales order or production order or
Hmm.
cost network. So those information also can be replicated to Ariba, like sale order
Which means,
number, in production order details as well to Ariba.
see, when you are saying Ariba buying or Ariba network,
Ariba buying
yes. If you want to replicate, you can replicate. We have
that
this functionality.
that other module details as well, like sale order details, production order.
See,
Okay.
so whatever PO number will be created in ERP system, if you want to replicate that, we can replicate that.
Yes.
But usually that is what you are doing for the direct procurement.
Yeah.
Means you are creating
In
your PR
ERP.
and right, your PR and PO you are creating in your S4 HANA system. So
Yes.
in that case, what happens if suppose Ariba is not there? Ariba buying system is not there because you are creating a PRPO in S4. So what is the use of buying here? So what are you doing now? You are creating your PRPO in S4, and the PO will be sent to the supplier. So supplier will have the supplier network, Ariba network. So he
Yes.
will be able to see there,
Okay.
right? But apart from, see, when I am saying Ariba network, there are two type of Ariba network. One is Ariba supplier network, which will be managed by the supplier, accessed by the supplier. There will be another
Okay.
network that is called Ariba buyer network, which will be used by the buyer. So as per your question, yes, this is how the PO will be sent to the Ariba system, where Ariba buyer will have the Ariba buyer network access. There they can see that this is the PO which is created from the ERP system.
Okay. Got it. Understood. Yes.
Yeah.
And as you explained, PO created at Ariba can be transmitted to supplier or it can be replicated to ERP R3 as well. In SRM also similar kind like classic, extended classic is there. In extended
Right.
classic, PO will not be replicated. Classic will get replicated to backend system.
Backend
Similar way
system.
you are
Correct.
saying Ariba buying or Ariba, one more thing is that
Guided by.
what is that? Oh, guided, yes. That is
So
part of
see,
configuration or
these
it is
are
by,
two different box will be there.
okay. I mean,
So
say example, some specific scenarios I need to send PO to supplier and specific cases, PO should replicate it to backend R3 or S4 system. I mean, that is part of configuration, right? It,
see, if you have integrated your Ariba system with S4 HANA system, if you have
okay,
done the integration, so when you are integrating, there will be few endpoint configuration. So at that endpoint configuration, you need to fix at what time you want to send the or in which scenario you want to send the PO to the ERP system. So there you can make the settings. So those are called endpoint configuration.
Kumar, so like for Ariba, we have certain settings in R3 also configuration. That R3 configuration also we are going to cover, right? The training sections.
No, in R3 we don't see in R3 whatever requirement is or whatever configuration is required. If we will get the integrated system, then only we can do it. Usually, until you will not work in real-time project, you will not get the integrated system.
No, but
Okay,
some most of the cases R3 is integrated, that S4 HANA is integrated with ARIBA system only more than 70% of the cases. That time we have certain
Mm,
configuration is there. What say for
right, right.
example, I created 10 company codes in R3. I don't want to
Hmm.
replicate all company codes to ARIBA. Only few company codes or few
Correct.
plans. Remaining
Right,
will be
right.
remaining. So that setting which can be allowed, which cannot be allowed. Some settings are there in S4 also
Those I will show you how to do that.
in the trainer. Yeah. So that's why
Yeah.
whatever the dependent configuration in S4 HANA, you are going to cover.
Correct.
Correct?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Fine. That's fine.
Yeah. So this, when we are talking about this buying part, in buying, create PR, PO, GR, invoicing, all the activities will be involved. But when we are talking about Ariba guided buying, in guided buying, we can, this is called P2O concept. This
Procure to
buying and
order.
invoice, yeah, procure to order. This is our P2P, procure to pay. But here this is our P2O concept, procure to order. So we can do only goods receipt up to here. After goods receipt, if you have to do the invoicing, it will trigger automatically to the buying system. That is only the difference between these two. So that is how they have created two different systems. So they have created these two different system for different user point of view. Like guided buying is the concept which they implemented. They thought that this is the guided buying concept we are implementing for the users who are not familiar with the system. So they want to just place the order in one step. They have to get into Ariba guided buying, and they can place their order. So they have called it as a casual employees or casual users. They don't want to
So,
get much into the system.
Kumar, normal Ariba buying or saying the standalone system, right?
Sorry.
I mean, you are saying Ariba buying means it is like standalone, correct? Not like that.
See, Ariba is completely standalone. So after
Okay.
this, it depends which module you want to integrate with your ERP system.
Okay.
So that you can integrate. Any module you can integrate.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah. And then your commerce automation we have discussed. And this is what your supplier enablement, book enablement, supplier sourcing desk, catalog management, indirect access to ERP. So these are your services which are there in Ariba.
Will cover some part of catalog configuration. Ariba
Yes,
catalog
catalog configuration will cover.
will cover, right? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, catalog management will cover. Catalog management will cover data load concept we have where we can upload any kind of data that we will cover. Master data we will be covering.
Okay.
Yeah. Approval process we will be doing like in side. Maybe sometimes we require a wrapper for the approval and all. So here we don't require. Approval workflow is very simple in Ariba. You can uh, customize the approval workflow as per the client's requirement. There are two different ways we can like define your approval label. So one is serial level and parallel level concept we have. Serial level means one by one the approval will be done. Parallel level means in the first level itself 4 5 approver can be there. Second level maybe one person. Third level again maybe 4 5 2 3 whatever it is. And third line again maybe 1 2 like that. So it depends, and there is no limitation for this.
Okay.
Same as in SRM, or a
Yeah.
bit different or a bit easy.
Yes, it's very easy here in Ariba.
Okay.
Yeah. So this is the procurement process which we have already discussed. Like based on your PRPO will be created, GR. So this is how your integration architecture is. So this is the supplier, there will be the buyer, the on-premise system, your ERP system, and via in this cloud connector, means in cloud you will have all this Ariba sourcing, contract, and supply chain collaboration. So it is all will be integrated with your CIG, cloud integration gateway. So there will be the standard settings for CIG. So whenever we are working for the integration, so lot of integration we need to do it from the ERP side, and during this integration we need the help of ABAPer basis, CIG consultant, and consultant, and Ariba consultant.
Emma,
So, so total 5 module consultant will be there at the time of integration. So when it will start, everybody will divide their roles and responsibilities. So
ಇದು
in
ಇಲ್ಲವರ
CIG, so from CIG side, configuration CIG consultant will take care of, and from Ariba side, Ariba consultant. So in
ಹಲ್ವಾ
Ariba
ಕಾವಲ್ ಇದನ್ನು
we have
I think you
ಒಂದು
have to
ತೆಗಿಬೋದು
mute the person. Yeah.
so in Ariba side, Ariba consultant will have the 1 second. That is fine. So from Ariba side, Ariba consultant will take care of all the configurations, whatever it is required. So those part I will show you as a because sometimes maybe you will be working in a project where the expectation or the requirement will be like that you should know the CIG configuration as well. If your like team size is bigger, then maybe you will have separate consultant for each and every module. But as a Ariba consultant, you should know what are the integration point which we need to configure, or if suppose after integration if any issue will come, or during integration if any issue will come, how can we get those information, and how can we identify those gaps. So that thing at least you should know. And if you are from the MMSRM background, it will be very easy for you to understand. Just you need to understand that when we are integrating one system to another system, we have to just take care of that what data we are sending from uh, like Ariba system to ERP system, and what data is replicating back from ERP system to Ariba system. That is what we need to understand. If you have this knowledge, it would be very easy for you to understand. Okay. So these are the sourcing event types. I think this came later.
So,
So we have
Kumar, like in R3, Kumar,
yeah.
like in R3, we are using XML mode of communication or ALE IDOC mode of communication. So here also, Ariba, we are configuring this ALE IDOC and XML or something
No,
different.
no, we are not doing all this. It will be done. All these configurations will be done by basis team. But yeah, at the end we need to go through the XML because those are the payloads where we need to check that
Okay. By IDOC,
XML and
ALE
web
IDOC not
service.
using, right, in Ariba side?
No, 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 we are not doing that.
Mostly into XML mode of communication to all
Yes.
connected systems. Okay.
Yeah. So this is how the transactional data, like our transactional data and master data, which we are going to, integrate with procurement and your ERP system. So do you want to see the Ariba system? Because I think almost we have discussed. So these are your supply chain process. What are the topics which are going to cover in supply chain? So this is another deck I had taken for the integration gateway, where your Ariba and S4 is connecting via CIG. So these are the standard IDOC web services will be there. We did not do anything. So do you want to see the system? Just give me a moment. I just want to show you. Just give me a minute.
Kumar,
If
are
you
you
can
sharing
see me.
something? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Can you see now?
Now, yes, we can see now.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is how you will be getting the URL. Okay, so for everything, for every realm, you will be getting the, for upstream you will have different, for downstream you will have different. For guided buying you will have different. For Ariba network you will have different. For buyer network you will have different. Okay, so you have to just enter your login ID and password and click on login. So this is how you will be logging into your Ariba dashboard. So you can customize the dashboard. You can move from here to there. The status report, status table from here to there. For any configuration, if you want to create any document, you have to click on create and you have to select what are you going to create. And from manage, you will have the configuration points. So either you will have two different URL for upstream or downstream, or if you have access, you can move from one system to another system from Ariba itself. Like here, this is icon where you can move from upstream to downstream. So when I'm in upstream means you will have the access only for sourcing, SLP, and the contract activities. You can see everything, all the details and more, but you will have the access only for SLP, sourcing, and contract and supplier risk when you are into upstream. If you will go to downstream, you have to click on this and you have to switch child. So here it is a parent and child concept. Parent means Ariba upstream. Child means Ariba downstream models. So if I'll click on child, I'll move to the downstream. So here it will be your procurement, invoicing, catalog management. So the dashboard will be visible based on your selection. If you want to see the catalog, click on catalog. All the catalogs will be visible here. If you want to see all your invoicing activities, whatever the documents you have created, that you can see in your invoicing tab. So here the images are not uploaded, so you are not able to see the images here. If you want to see the invoicing part, the invoicing. Okay. Any other questions? So I'm done. If you have any question, please raise your hand.
What is the duration? We'll cover.
Duration will be almost, it will take 1 month, 1.5 month almost it will take, excluding Saturday, Sunday.
Okay. And the timings we'll discuss now, or
Timings, you check with Subbu because I need
okay.
to check with because other batches are also running. We'll check the timings with everyone and then we will finalize one time.
Okay.
Anybody else? Any other question? Any other doubts? Otherwise, we'll wrap up the session.
Yeah, I think yeah, it was a very nice demo session, Kumar.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. Thank you all. Thanks for joining the call.
So,
Yeah.
Kumar,
Yes,
so
yes,
right now,
please.
as per your availability, which time is more suitable for you, morning or evening? As per
Always,
current availability.
always morning, because evening, we don't know till what time our call will be there. So there is no.
Where are you
Evening is
located?
quite.
Bangalore, India or?
As of now, I'm in India. Maybe after 3, 4 months, I won't be here. I just came back.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So you mean to
So
say daily 1 hour you are planning or more than
it's
that?
daily 1 hour.
Okay. 45 days. Means if you exclude Saturday, Sunday means, okay. It will roughly 30 to 35 days.
Roughly, I need 30 hours.
Can we
In
cover all
between,
these,
maybe.
whatever the topics within 30 hours, including
Yes, yes,
SAP?
yes. So here,
Okay.
yeah, we can do it. Not a problem.
Okay.
And one more suggestion I wanted to give. If you are going to switch to Ariba, it is not mandatory that you should know all the modules. If you know one
Yes.
module also perfectly, you'll get the job in Ariba.
Yeah.
That is
Like
that
in
is the
SAP, there are so many models. We know only one
right,
or two. Mm.
correct. So like that, the market is there in such a way right now. If you know
So
one
currently,
module,
which
if you
model
know
is
is
market booming? Which model
every
having more demand?
every module, it depends on the requirement, right?
No,
It is not
generally,
mandatory. Generally, I will not
cooking
say
is as
generally,
it
because
is.
openings are there in each and every module.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. So, and for every company, there is no bench strength for Ariba.
But see, maybe most of the for all clients, custom the contract may not be required, but sourcing is required, right? Sourcing will be common for 99% of the projects, correct?
If a
But
customer
contracting only
is
specific. Mm.
if a customer is going for upstream, he will go for SLP sourcing and contract
Yes,
and
these three
commercial.
are common models. All projects.
Yes,
Okay.
right. But there are the customers where you will have SLP sourcing and contract, but sourcing is managed by one company, SLP is managed by another company, and contract is managed by another company.
Another company means what it
Another
means. Another.
organization like maybe the same client LNT, sourcing is with TCS,
I mean, they are
contract
giving
is with Wipro.
three consulting companies.
Yeah. So that is
Why
how
like
they
that?
are doing. It is their choice.
What benefit they will get?
It is their choice, I would say.
Oh, okay. That's all what general. What
Well,
is benefit they will get giving multiple companies?
nothing. I don't see any benefit. Benefit only will be maybe the cost point of view. If suppose
Okay.
they will give the SLP sourcing and contract to IBM, Deloitte, KPMG, PwC, and EY, they will charge like anything, right?
More. Yeah, charging more.
Right. Right.
Yes.
So in that case, what they will do, they will go with three different. Either they will go with one company and they will give it to you, or they will negotiate with three different companies. So at the end, what the client is looking for, client is looking for for their work. Whether the Infosys, TCS, and Wipro will work, consultant will work together, or they will do it separately. Doesn't makes any
Yes.
issue for them. So at the
Dollar will
end,
play a
in
role.
the yes, at the end they want the output. The work has been done or not. So that is how they are negotiating.
Okay, no problem.
And
Okay,
and
sir.
every company also, they don't want to lose a single module. Why will they lose the single module? If
Okay,
sourcing
yeah.
only is coming, okay, let it come, no problem. Manage.
That
Many
okay. That's fine.
company, many projects where you will be seeing that if implementation is going on, catalog management is managed by Accenture. Other three module will be implemented by this company, that company. It happens.
And one more maybe out of box question. Generally in R3 or general license based billing will be there, number of user licenses by SAP.
Yes.
Here also similar like it is transaction based.
License based means module license based, the cost is there, not the user based,
Yes.
but the
Okay.
module based it is there. For every module, license cost is different.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. How
Okay,
soon can we start
fine.
this report? How soon can we start this batch?
I believe because two batches are running and it is almost going to over by next week. So next to next week we can start.
Next to next week or next week?
Next to next means okay. No, today is 30, right?
It means January second week, Jan second week.
No, 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 no. Next to next week means from maybe 9th onwards.
That is right, January second week. Okay.
January 2nd week. Yes.
Yeah, it is good to start as early as possible so that we
I
can
will.
finish as early as possible.
Yes, yes. I will try. Let us see.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kumar. Thanks for your time.
Okay. Thank you everyone for joining the call. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.